A lot of people believe that unless you know how to write macros, you're not really good at Excel. That's not true at all. Macros mean programming. Excel is a tool for everyone, and all of us don't know programming. Instead, my view is that if you can get all your work done in Excel without using macros, then you are excellent at using Excel. And I think Microsoft also realizes that. That's why you have all these new wonderful dynamic array functions in Microsoft 365, which replaces the need for macros in a lot of scenarios. Today, I'll show you how to write your own functions. Another functionality that is screaming that you don't really need to learn how to write macros. Let's take a look at how do you create your own functions in Excel. There are many reasons to create our own functions. It could be to avoid writing a complex formula again and again, or it could be to make it easy for others to perform some calculations as they may not have the necessary expertise in Excel to otherwise get those calculations done themselves. The data that we have is for some people who've taken a loan. We have the loan amount, interest rate, and duration of the loan in years. Our challenge is to calculate the simple interest. We can calculate the simple interest by multiplying amount, interest, and duration. If I write this formula in the cell E2, I will write it as B2 multiplied by C2 multiplied by D2. And we get the answer as 3600. While this is a simple calculation, but let's write our own function to calculate simple interest. For this, we will use a function called Lambda. Lambda allows you to define your own functions. Let's clear the contents of the cell E2 and I will write Lambda. As I write Lambda, it expects a parameter or calculation. Parameters is the input you will provide to the function and calculation is the action you will perform on those parameters. So let's start by writing the parameters. We can give any name to the parameter. However, I always recommend that you give something which is meaningful and a name which makes it simple for others to understand. So we will name the first parameter as principal. Then add a comma and provide the next two parameters. We will call them rate and time. Now we have defined all the parameters. Let's write the calculation. The calculation will utilize the parameters we have defined. Our calculation will be principal multiplied by rate and time. As I start typing principal, you can see Excel recommending the parameter we just defined. Look how amazing this is. We are halfway through the Lambda function and Excel has started recognizing the parameter definition. Similarly, as I move forward, Excel recommends the word rate and time too. As I finish the function and press enter, I receive the calc error. This is anticipated. Now we have two options. The first is to test if the function is working properly, and the second to complete the function definition. Let's do both one by one. To test the function if it is working fine, we can provide the parameters using brackets. So right after the definition, I'm going to open a bracket and provide cell references for principal, rate and time. These are B2, C2, D2. Close the bracket and press enter. We get our answer, which is 3600. So we know that the function definition is correct. So providing parameters in the end using brackets is a way to test the function. Now that our test has worked fine, let's complete the function definition. I'm going to copy the function definition. Please note that I'm not copying the parameters we pass for testing purposes. Now I will go to Formulas tab and click on Define Name. If you're not familiar with the name definition, then I will include a link in the description for you to see another video. Let's name the function as simple interest. This is the name that we will use to call the function. In the refers to section, I will paste the function definition we had copied. In the comments section, I will define the function parameters. It is tempting to ignore writing comments, however, you should always provide clarity. For instance, I have clearly written that the rate is in percentage and the time is in years. If we don't provide these values, then the user of this function may provide incorrect input. Once done with the comments, press OK. Now let's write the new function. I will clear the contents of cell B2. I will begin by writing the new function, simple interest. As you start writing, you see the details of comments appear as a tooltip. And now I can provide the value of principal, which is in the cell B2, followed by rate in the cell C2, and time in cell D2. Close the bracket and press enter. We get the interest rate as 3600, which we know is correct. We can copy it like any other Excel function, and we get the interest rate for all the rows. So this is how you can create your own function in Excel using Lambda. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover. And don't forget to subscribe our channel Analytics Success for more tips and tricks on Excel and data analytics. Thanks for watching.